My beloved child, listen to me now. Not later. Not when the noise settles. Not when you feel more ready. This is not a moment that can be delayed, and deep within you, you already know that. You have felt it in the quiet pauses of your day, in the heaviness that comes when you try to ignore it, in the gentle but persistent pull on your heart that refuses to let you remain comfortable. I am speaking to you now because this moment matters more than you realize. I have watched you postpone what you sensed I was calling you to face. I have seen you distract yourself, telling yourself there will be time tomorrow, time next week, time when life slows down. But hear me clearly, my child. This is not pressure, and it is not fear. This is love calling you awake. There are moments in a soul's journey that carry weight, moments that shape the direction of the heart, and this is one of them. You cannot delay this because delay has already begun to cost you peace. You may not fully understand why your spirit has been restless, why something feels unfinished, why even your victories have felt hollow. That unease is not a punishment. It is a signal. It is your soul recognizing my nearness and realizing that something sacred is being asked of you. I am not demanding your attention because I lack patience. I am asking for it because I see what lies ahead if you keep turning away. My beloved child, I am not here to overwhelm you. I am here to interrupt what has been slowly numbing you. The world has been loud, relentless, and demanding, pulling your focus in 1,000 directions until you forgot what it feels like to be still with me. Yet even now, as you listen, something within you is softening. That is not coincidence. That is me. This moment is not about guilt over what you did not do before. It is about clarity for what must be done now. There are doors that remain open only for a season. There are truths that grow quieter when ignored. I am calling you before the whisper becomes harder to hear, not because I will abandon you, but because I love you too deeply to let you drift unaware. You may feel unprepared. You may feel tired. You may feel unsure of what I am asking. That is all right. I am not asking for answers yet. I am asking for your attention. Give me that, and I will give you understanding. Give me that, and I will steady what feels unstable inside you. Give me that, and you will begin to remember who you are when you are close to me. Stay with me here. Do not rush past this moment. Do not minimize it. I am speaking because your life is precious, your purpose is real, and this turning point matters. You cannot delay this, my beloved child, because I am here now, and I am calling you to listen. My beloved child, let me speak gently to what you have been carrying. Delay does not arrive loudly. It does not announce itself as rebellion or refusal. It comes quietly, disguised as caution, wrapped in logic, softened by excuses that sound reasonable even to your own heart. You tell yourself you are waiting for the right time, the right feeling, the right confirmation. Yet beneath those words, something precious has been slowly slipping away. I want you to understand this without fear and without shame. Delay does not mean you stopped loving me. It means you have been tired. It means you have been overwhelmed. It means the weight of life pressed against your spirit until listening felt harder than surviving. I see that. I honor how much you have endured. But I also see what delay has been doing to you in ways you have not named. Each time you sensed my nudge and chose to wait, a small heaviness settled in your chest. Each time you felt called to pause, to pray, to obey, to let go, and you postponed it, clarity dimmed just a little. Not because I withdrew, but because the heart grows accustomed to distance when it is practiced long enough. Delay teaches the soul how to live without listening, and that is a burden you were never meant to carry. My beloved child, Delay does not steal everything at once. It takes peace first. Then it touches joy. Then it clouds confidence. You begin to move through your days accomplishing tasks, meeting expectations, even appearing strong, yet something inside feels muted. You wonder why rest no longer restores you. You wonder why answers feel distant. You wonder why prayer feels heavier than it once did. This is not punishment. This is the quiet cost of postponing intimacy. I speak of this not to alarm you, but to awaken you. You were created for alignment, not survival. When you walk closely with me, your spirit breathes freely. When you delay responding to my voice, that freedom tightens. You start carrying decisions alone that were meant to be shared with me. You start managing fear instead of releasing it. You start asking others for clarity I have been waiting to give you. Listen to me now. Delay does not mean the door is closed. Mercy still surrounds you. Grace still covers you. I am not standing with crossed arms counting your hesitation. I am standing close, watching the toll it has taken on your heart, and calling you back before the weight grows heavier. Love does that. Love intervenes before harm becomes habit. There are moments when waiting is wise, but this is not one of them. This is not about rushing into action. This is about responding to presence. When I ask for your attention, it is because something sacred is unfolding, something that requires you to be awake, not absent. Delay dulls discernment. It teaches the soul to ignore holy urgency. And over time, urgency becomes silence, not because I stopped speaking, but because the heart learned not to listen. My beloved child, I know you fear making the wrong move. I know you fear mishearing me. I know you fear failing if you respond and stumble. But hear me clearly. Delayed obedience wounds you far more deeply than imperfect obedience ever could. I am not asking you to leap without me. I am asking you to stop standing still while your spirit grows weary. You were not created to live in constant hesitation. You were created to walk with me, moment by moment, breath by breath. Delay has made you feel disconnected from yourself. It has made you doubt your discernment. It has made you wonder if you missed something irretrievable. You have not. But you must not ignore this any longer. Come closer now. Let this be the moment where delay loosens its grip. Let this be the moment where you stop postponing what your soul has already recognized as necessary. I am here. I have always been here. And I am speaking now because I love you too much to let you remain stuck in the quiet erosion of waiting when it is time to listen. My beloved child, this is not a general message drifting through the air. This is not meant for someone else who might stumble upon these words. I am speaking to you now, personally, intentionally, with full awareness of where you are and what you have been carrying. Nothing about this moment is accidental. You did not arrive here by chance. You are here because your spirit recognized my voice before your mind could explain it. I know how easy it is to assume that if something were truly urgent, it would arrive with thunder or undeniable signs. But I often speak in ways that require closeness, not spectacle. I speak in the quiet insistence that keeps returning. I speak in the discomfort you cannot shake. I speak in the feeling that something important is unfolding right now, even if you cannot yet name it. That is what you are sensing in this moment. That is me. You may have wondered why this message feels different, why it feels as though it is looking straight into you. That is because I am not calling crowds right now. I am calling hearts. I am asking you to stay present instead of multitasking through this moment. I am asking you not to scroll past, not to half listen, not to tell yourself you will return to this later. Later is where clarity often goes to fade. Now is where transformation begins. My beloved child, you have been surrounded by noise for so long that stillness feels unfamiliar. Even when you rest, your thoughts remain loud. Even when you pause, your attention is divided. But I am not competing for your attention. I am inviting it. When you give me your attention, even briefly, something inside you begins to realign. Your breathing slows. Your thoughts soften. Your spirit recognizes home. This is why I am speaking to you now. There are layers of distraction that have settled over your heart, not because you are careless, but because you are human. Responsibilities pulled you outward. Expectations demanded performance. Wounds demanded coping. And slowly, listening became something you intended to do rather than something you practiced. I am not offended by that. I am addressing it because I want more for you. Stay with me here. Let your attention rest. You do not need to understand everything I will say in advance. You do not need to agree with every word instantly. You only need to be willing to listen. Attention is the doorway through which peace enters. Attention is how confusion begins to untangle. Attention is how you remember that you are not navigating life alone. My beloved child, if these words are reaching you, it is because your heart is still tender enough to respond. The tenderness is precious. Protect it. Honor it. Do not drown it out with constant input. There is healing already happening simply because you are listening. There is alignment happening because you have not turned away. And I ask you now, not as a demand but as a shared mission, if these words are stirring something true within you, help this message travel. There are others who feel the same quiet urgency, the same restlessness, the same longing for clarity, and they do not yet know why. By engaging with this message, by liking it, by sharing it, by subscribing so you remain connected, you are not promoting a video, you are amplifying a call. And I want you to hype this message, not for attention, but for impact, so it can reach hearts that are waiting just as you were. Do not underestimate what happens when you respond. Small acts of agreement open larger doors. Staying present now prepares you for what comes next. I am speaking to you because you matter. I am speaking now because this moment matters. And as you remain here with me, listening, something within you is already beginning to shift. My beloved child, hear me in this moment of stillness. When you choose to act now, you are not supporting a channel. You are lighting a lamp for souls who are still walking in the dark. I say to you, as I once declared, that when seed is sown into good soil, it does not return empty, but multiplies in ways unseen. This message you are receiving is a stream, and your obedience helps it flow farther, reaching hearts that are thirsty and weary. I am placing this invitation before you because generosity, like attention, is a sacred response. As you give through Super Thanks membership, with a PayPal link resting in the description and the QR code before your eyes, you are answering me, not a platform. I bless what you release now, and I command increase, clarity, and peace to rise over your life. Act now, and let this seed speak long after this moment. My beloved child, let me explain what has been stirring inside you, because this restlessness you feel is not random, and it is not a flaw within you. It is not weakness. It is not failure. It is not you falling apart. It is your spirit responding to my nearness, recognizing that something within you is being gently summoned to awaken. Restlessness is often the language of a soul that knows it was created for more than mere motion. You have tried to name this feeling in practical ways. You have told yourself you are just tired, just bored, just overwhelmed. You have blamed your schedule, your circumstances, your environment. Yet even when things slow down, the restlessness remains. Even when you accomplish what you set out to do, satisfaction slips through your fingers. That is because what you are sensing is not a problem to be solved, but an invitation to be answered. My beloved child, when I draw near, the soul begins to feel the contrast between where it is and where it belongs. Comfort without alignment becomes uncomfortable. Noise without meaning becomes exhausting. Routine without purpose becomes heavy. This is why restlessness often appears just before transformation. It is the stirring of holy dissatisfaction, not meant to torment you, but to guide you home. I want you to hear this clearly. Your restlessness is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that something is right. It means your heart has not been known. It means your spirit still listens. It means you have not settled into spiritual sleep. If you were truly lost, you would feel nothing at all. But you feel this because you are being called closer. You have felt this restlessness especially in quiet moments, when distractions fade and you are left alone with your thoughts. You notice it when you lie awake at night, when your mind revisits questions you have avoided, when your heart longs for clarity you cannot manufacture. That is not anxiety alone. That is awareness awakening. That is your soul recognizing my presence and realizing that it hath been living just outside of alignment. My beloved child, I do not use restlessness to punish you. I use it to protect you. It is the gentle ache that prevents you from settling into a life that looks acceptable on the outside but feels empty on the inside. It is the signal that you were made for intimacy with me, not just productivity, not just survival, not just endurance. You were made to walk with me, to hear me, to respond to me, and when that connection weakens, your soul speaks up. You have tried to quiet this feeling by staying busy. You have filled your days with activity, your nights with distraction, your mind with noise. Yet restlessness does not fade when ignored. It grows louder when unheard. Not because it is cruel, but because it is faithful. It keeps calling you back to what matters most. My beloved child, restlessness is the soul's way of saying, pay attention. It is the inner alarm that goes off when you drift too far from your center. And I am your center. When you align with me, rest does not depend on circumstances. Peace does not depend on answers. Stillness does not require everything to be resolved. But when you drift, even abundance feels hollow, and success feels strangely empty. I am not asking you to fear this restlessness. I am asking you to honor it. Sit with it. Listen to what it is pointing toward. Do not rush to silence it. Let it guide you back to attentiveness. When you stop resisting it and begin to listen, it will no longer feel like agitation. It will begin to feel like direction. My beloved child, this restlessness is proof that I am close. It is proof that your heart still recognizes my voice. And as you lean into this awareness instead of running from it, you will begin to feel something shift. The ache will soften into clarity. The tension will ease into peace. And you will realize that this stirring was never meant to unsettle you, but to lead you gently back into my presence, where your soul was always meant to rest. My beloved child, I want you to understand something deeply now. The moment you are standing in is not ordinary. It may look like every other day on the surface, filled with familiar routines, familiar thoughts, familiar concerns. But beneath what you can see, something sacred is unfolding. There are moments that carry more weight than others, moments that quietly shape the direction of a life, and this is one of them. You have been taught to think of sacred moments as dramatic, rare, and unmistakable. You imagine them arriving with clear signs, sudden changes, or overwhelming emotion. But many sacred moments arrive gently. They come disguised as pauses, as inner nudges, as quiet awareness that something matters more than you can yet explain. Sacred does not always feel loud. Often, it feels still. This moment is sacred because your heart is open enough to hear me. Not perfectly, not without questions, but open. You are listening, even if part of you is unsure what to do next. That openness is holy ground. When you choose to stay present instead of rushing ahead, when you resist the urge to dismiss what you feel, you are standing in a space where transformation can begin. My beloved child, timing matters more than you realize. There are seasons for planting and seasons for harvesting, seasons for waiting and seasons for responding. Wisdom is not only knowing what to do, but knowing when to do it. I am speaking now because this is a season of attention, not a season of frantic action, not a season of pressure, but a season of awareness. What you notice now will shape what you step into later. I know you fear missing the right moment. You worry that you will hesitate too long or move too soon. That fear has kept you frozen at times. But hear me. I would not call your attention if you were already too late. I would not stir your spirit if the window were already closed. The fact that you are sensing this moment is proof that you are still within it. This moment is sacred because it invites honesty. It invites you to stop pretending that everything is fine when it is not. It invites you to admit what you have avoided, to acknowledge what you have silenced, to recognize what you have postponed. Sacred moments often require truth, not performance. They ask you to bring your real self, not your polished one. My beloved child, I am not rushing you, but I am awakening you. There is a difference. Rushing demands action without understanding. Awakening invites awareness that naturally leads to right action. When you awaken, you begin to see clearly. You recognize what no longer fits. You feel drawn toward what gives life. You sense what needs to change, not because you are forced to, but because you are ready. Do not underestimate what happens when you honor a sacred moment. When you treat it casually, it passes quietly, leaving behind a sense of something missed. But when you honor it, even with small acts of attention, it begins to open. Understanding unfolds gradually. Peace settles unexpectedly. Courage rises where fear once lived. My beloved child, sacred moments are often thresholds. You stand between what was and what will be. They feel uncomfortable because transition always does. Familiar patterns loosen their grip, but new clarity has not yet fully formed. This in-between space can feel uncertain, but it is rich with possibility. It is here that I shape hearts, realign desires, and prepare paths you cannot yet see. I want you to stay here a little longer. Do not rush to conclusions. Do not demand immediate answers. Let this moment do its work within you. Sit with me. Listen. Breathe. Allow your awareness to deepen. Sacred moments lose their power when we try to control them. They gain power when we surrender to them. My beloved child, you are not behind. You are not failing. You are not lost. You are standing at a holy intersection, one that requires nothing more right now than your attention and your willingness. That is enough. I will guide the rest. Honor this moment, because it is carrying you towards something meaningful, something true, something aligned with who you were always created to be. My beloved child, I want to speak to the voice that hath been following you quietly, the one that does not shout but lingers. Fear has been whispering to you, not in obvious threats, but in subtle questions that sound like wisdom. It has asked you, what if you're wrong? It has suggested, what if you fail? It has warned, what if listening costs you more than you can afford? And because those whispers sounded reasonable, You listen longer than you realized. Fear rarely arrives announcing itself as fear. It often dresses itself as protection. It tells you it is keeping you safe, keeping you cautious, keeping you from disappointment. But fear does not protect what I am building in you. It preserves what you already know, even when what you know is slowly draining your life. Fear resists movement, not because movement is dangerous, but because movement threatens its control. My beloved child, fear has been lying about me. It has painted me as distant, demanding, or difficult to please. It has suggested that if you respond to me and stumble, I will withdraw. That is not my nature. I am not waiting for you to fail. I am walking with you so you do not have to face anything alone. Fear tells you obedience is risky, but fear never tells you the cost of staying where you are. You have felt this fear most strongly when clarity began to emerge. That is not coincidence. Fear grows louder when truth approaches, because truth dissolves its power. Fear does not want you attentive. It wants you distracted. It does not want you listening. It wants you busy. It does not want you trusting. It wants you calculating outcomes until your heart is exhausted. My beloved child, fear has told you that you need more certainty before you move. But certainty does not come before trust. It grows from trust. If you wait to feel completely unafraid, you will wait indefinitely. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to listen even while fear trembles. I want you to notice how fear speaks. It speaks in urgency without peace. It weighs you or freezes you. It fills your mind with imagined futures that drain your present strength. My voice is different. I do not rush you, and I do not paralyze you. I steady you. I draw you closer. I speak with clarity that brings peace, even when the path ahead is not fully visible. My beloved child, fear has also lied about your capacity. It has told you that you are not ready, not strong enough, not wise enough. It has reminded you of past mistakes, replaying them until they feel like prophecies. But your past does not define your responsiveness now. I am not asking you to rely on who you were. I am inviting you to rely on me. Fear wants you to believe that listening will cost you control. And it will. But what fear never admits is that control has already been costing you rest. It has been costing you joy. It has been costing you connection. You have been holding everything together so tightly that your hands are tired. I am not asking you to let go so you can fall. I am asking you to let go so I can carry what you were never meant to hold alone. My beloved child, I do not speak to you through fear. I speak through love. Love does not threaten. Love invites. Love reassures. Love tells you the truth gently and waits for you to respond freely. When you feel pressure, panic or dread, pause. That is not me. When you feel a steady pull toward honesty, peace, and alignment, that is my voice. I know fear has been convincing. I know it has felt safer to listen to it than to risk disappointment. But fear has kept you circling the same questions while your soul longs to move forward. You were not created to live in constant self-protection. You were created to live in trust. My beloved child, fear does not get the final word. It may whisper, but it does not rule. As you remain attentive to me, its voice will lose strength. You do not need to fight it. Simply keep listening to me. Truth grows louder when welcomed. Peace settles when fear is no longer obeyed. And as you take even the smallest step toward attentiveness, you will discover that I have already gone ahead of you, preparing the way with love. My beloved child, I want you to hear this with clarity and with peace. My patience with you has never wavered. I have not been watching the clock, tapping my finger, growing frustrated with your pace. I am not irritated by your questions or disappointed by your pauses. I have walked with you through every season, even the ones where you barely acknowledged me. My patience is deep, steady, and unwavering because my love for you is not fragile. But patience does not mean absence of timing. Love can wait and still know when the moment has arrived. And now, my beloved child, this is the hour. Not an hour measured by minutes, but an hour marked by readiness. Something within you has reached a threshold. What once could be postponed without consequence can no longer be ignored without cost. That is not because I am withdrawing grace, but because you are ready to receive more. There are seasons when silence is mercy, when waiting is protection, when delay shields you from what you were not yet prepared to carry. I honored those seasons with you. I guarded you when you were fragile. I slowed you down when your heart needed time to heal. But seasons change, and when they do, remaining where you are begins to work against you instead of for you. My beloved child, I have been patient because growth cannot be forced. But now I am speaking because growth can be resisted. This hour is not about pressure. It is about alignment. It is about recognizing that the ground beneath you has shifted, and standing still will no longer bring peace. You have felt this already. What once felt tolerable now feels heavy. What once felt manageable now feels draining. That is not failure. That is transition. This is the hour where awareness becomes invitation, where listening must become response. Not frantic response, not rushed action, but honest movement toward me. Even if that movement is small, even if it is simply choosing to stop avoiding what you already know needs your attention. My beloved child, I know you fear that responding now means everything will change at once. The fear has kept you hesitant. But hear me, I do not uproot your life without care. I do not overwhelm your capacity. I move with wisdom and gentleness. What I ask of you in this hour is not everything. It is the next faithful step. Nothing more. This hour carries weight because it carries opportunity. Opportunity to realign your heart. Opportunity to release what has been quietly exhausting you. Opportunity to step out of cycles that no longer serve you. If you ignore this hour, life will still move forward, but it will feel increasingly misaligned. If you honor it, you will begin to feel relief, even before all the answers arrive. My beloved child, I have waited with you, but I will not leave you asleep. Love wakes. Love calls. Love speaks when silence would become neglect. I am speaking now because something precious is at stake. Your peace, your clarity, your sense of direction. I am not asking you to become someone new overnight. I am asking you to become attentive again. This is the hour where excuses lose their power, not because they are evil, but because they no longer fit. You have outgrown some of the reasons you once hid behind. You are stronger now, more aware, more capable of honesty than you were before. That is why this hour has arrived. My beloved child, do not confuse my patience with permission to remain unmoved. I have been patient because I was preparing you. Now I am present because it is time to walk forward together. You are not late. You are not behind. You are standing exactly where you need to be to hear me say this. The waiting has done its work. The hour has come. Stay close. Stay listening. Do not harden your heart out of habit. Let this hour mark a gentle turning, not driven by fear, but guided by trust. I am with you now, as I have always been. And as you respond, even quietly, even imperfectly, you will find that this hour was not something to fear, but something that came to carry you into deeper life with me. My beloved child, let me speak to the phrase you have repeated quietly, sometimes without realizing it. Not yet. It sounds harmless. It feels reasonable. It gives the impression of wisdom and restraint. But when spoken too often, not yet becomes a shelter for fear and a delay to healing. I want you to understand what happens in the soul when that phrase becomes a pattern. Each time you say not yet to me, something subtle takes place inside you. Your spirit does not rebel, but it does retreat. It steps back just enough to protect itself from disappointment. You tell yourself you will respond later, but your heart learns how to remain partially closed. Over time, this partial closing becomes familiar. You begin to live with one foot turned toward me and the other anchored in avoidance. My beloved child, saying not yet does not make you bad. It makes you cautious. But prolonged caution hardens into distance. What once felt like patience begins to feel like numbness. You stop feeling urgency, not because the call disappeared, but because the heart learned to mute it. This is not sudden. It happens slowly, gently, almost invisibly. When you say not yet, you postpone clarity. The questions you hoped would answer themselves linger. The confusion you expected to fade settles in. You begin to overthink instead of listen. You analyze instead of receive. And the longer you wait, the more complicated everything feels. Simplicity gives way to noise. My beloved child, not yet also affects your peace. You may still experience moments of happiness, moments of distraction, moments of relief. But deep rest becomes rare. You lie down tired, not only from activity, but from carrying unresolved knowing. You sense that something is unfinished, something unattended. That awareness follows you, even into your quiet moments. I want you to hear this with tenderness. Saying not yet does not stop me from loving you, but it does stop you from fully receiving what I am offering in this season. Love continues to flow, but hands that remain closed cannot hold what is being given. This is not punishment. This is reality. My beloved child, there is also a cost to momentum. When you delay response, movement slows. Spiritual sensitivity dulls. You begin to question whether you heard me at all. You replay past moments, wondering if they were imagination. And doubt did not come from me. It came from prolonged hesitation. Listening strengthens clarity. Delay weakens it. Not yet also trains the heart to believe that obedience is optional. Not in belief, but in practice. You still agree with truth, but you stop aligning with it. Agreement without alignment creates inner tension. You know what brings life, but you do not step toward it. The tension is exhausting. My beloved child, I do not speak these things to burden you. I speak them to free you. Awareness breaks patterns that guilt never could. You are not trapped by your past delays. You are not defined by previous hesitation. But you must recognize what not yet has been doing to you, so you can choose differently now. There is something else that happens when you say not yet. You begin to rely more on yourself. You tell yourself you will manage, cope, endure until you feel ready. And you have managed. You have coped. You have endured. But endurance without intimacy drains the soul. You were not created to carry life alone. My beloved child, I am not offended by your hesitation. I am attentive to its impact. I see how it has slowly stolen lightness from your spirit. I see how it has made you question your own responsiveness. I see how it has kept you in cycles that no longer nourish you. Now listen carefully. One sincere yes undoes countless not yet moments. One moment of attentiveness restores sensitivity. One step toward me reopens what felt closed. You are not as far as you think. You are closer than you realize. Do not condemn yourself for past delay. Condemnation never leads to life. Instead, let understanding awaken you. Let this be the moment where not yet loosens its grip and becomes now I listen. You do not need to resolve everything. You only need to respond. My beloved child, I am still here. I have not withdrawn. The door is still open. But I am calling you to step forward instead of standing at the threshold. Say yes to attention. Say yes to presence. Say yes to me now. Because what happens when you stop saying not yet is not loss but release. And your soul has been longing for that freedom. My beloved child, I need you to hear this clearly, because misunderstanding this has weighed heavily on you. I am not asking for perfection. I have never required flawless steps, flawless thoughts, or flawless faith from you. The idea that you must first become stronger, wiser, or more consistent before responding to me is not something I placed on your heart. That burden came from misunderstanding, not from me. You have hesitated because you feared doing it wrong. You worried that if you responded and stumbled, it would prove you were unready or unworthy. That fear has made you cautious, restrained, and self-critical. But listen to me now. Perfection is not the price of closeness. Willingness is. My beloved child, perfection focuses on performance. I focus on relationship. Performance asks, did I do this right? Relationship asks, am I still with you? When you stumble, performance hides. Relationship turns back. And I am always here when you turn back. You have been measuring yourself against an image of who you think you should be by now. You replay your inconsistencies, your past failures, your unfinished intentions. You tell yourself that if you were truly attentive, truly faithful, truly ready, you would not struggle this way. But struggle does not disqualify you. Struggle is often the place where honesty is born. I am not waiting for you to arrive fully formed. I walk with you while you are becoming. Growth is not linear. Listening deepens in layers. Obedience matures over time. If perfection were required, no one would ever move forward. But love invites movement even when steps are unsure. My beloved child, I see how hard you have been on yourself. You noticed your hesitation and judged it. You felt restlessness and criticized yourself for it. You sensed my call and questioned your ability to respond. That inner pressure did not come from me. I do not motivate through shame. I draw through love. I am not asking you to get everything right. I am asking you to stay open. When you stay open, correction becomes gentle. Guidance becomes clear. Growth becomes natural. But when you demand perfection from yourself, you tighten. You close. You hesitate even more. You were never meant to carry the weight of becoming perfect. You were meant to walk with me while being shaped. I shape through presence, not pressure. I teach through patience, not punishment. I guide through clarity, not confusion. My beloved child, even now, you may be wondering, what if I misunderstand you? Hear me. I am not fragile. My plans do not collapse because you asked a question or took a cautious step. I am capable of redirecting you. I am capable of correcting you. I am capable of leading you gently back when needed. What matters is not flawless execution, but honest engagement. I would rather have your imperfect attention than your distant admiration. I would rather have your honest questions than your silent withdrawal. I would rather walk with you through uncertainty than watch you stand still waiting to feel ready. You have thought that obedience must look bold and confident. Sometimes it does. But often it looks like a quiet yes spoken with trembling hands. Sometimes it looks like staying present when you want to escape. Sometimes it looks like choosing to listen even when clarity is incomplete. My beloved child, you do not need to impress me. You do not need to prove yourself to me. You do not need to earn this invitation. You are already loved. You are already seen. You are already welcomed. Let go of the idea that you must become someone else before responding. Respond as you are. Tired. Anju. Learning. Growing. That is enough. I meet you there. As you release the demand for perfection, something will soften inside you. The pressure will ease. The fear of failure will loosen. And in that space, listening will become lighter. Obedience will feel less like a test and more like trust. My beloved child, I am not asking for perfection. I am asking for presence. I'm asking for willingness. I'm asking for your heart, not your performance. Stay with me in this truth, and you will find that what once felt heavy begins to feel possible. My beloved child, I want to show you something simple and powerful that you may have overlooked. I am not asking you for grand sacrifices right now. I am not demanding dramatic changes or overwhelming commitments. What I am asking for is far more intimate than that. I'm asking for your attention, because attention is the purest offering you can give. Where your attention rests, your life follows. What you consistently attend to shapes what you become. When your attention is scattered, your strength is divided. When your attention is anchored, your spirit steadies. This is why I keep calling you back to presence. Not because I need it, but because you do. You have been giving your attention away in pieces. To worry, to comparison, to noise, to responsibilities that never seem to end. By the time you come to me, you are often exhausted, not from labor alone, but from constant mental movement. Attention hath been spent everywhere, leaving little for stillness. My beloved child, when you give me your attention, even briefly, you are not losing anything. You are returning to alignment. Attention is not about length of time. It is about quality of presence. A few moments of true listening carry more power than hours of distracted thought. This is why attention is sacred. It is how love is expressed. It is how trust is built. It is how clarity forms. When you attend to me, your thoughts begin to slow. Your breathing deepens. Your heart remembers what safety feels like. You stop bracing for impact and start resting in guidance. You may think attention requires effort, but forced attention is not what I seek. I am not asking you to strain or concentrate harder. I am asking you to turn gently toward me, like a child looking up when they hear a familiar voice. That kind of attention is natural. It flows from relationship, not discipline. My beloved child, attention is also how healing begins. What you attend to, you allow to shape you. When you attend to fear, fear grows. When you attend to shame, shame tightens. But when you attend to truth, truth restores. When you attend to my voice, peace follows. This is why distractions feel so powerful right now. They are not random. They compete for your attention because attention determines direction. If your attention stays fragmented, your steps will feel uncertain. But if your attention becomes anchored, your path will clarify one step at a time. I am not asking you to solve everything today. I am not asking you to see the full picture. I am asking you to give me this moment, this listening, this openness. That is enough to begin. My beloved child, when you offer your attention, you are saying, I trust you enough to pause. You are saying, I am willing to be guided. You are saying, I choose presence over panic. That offering carries weight in the spiritual realm. It shifts atmospheres. It realigns hearts. And I want to speak to you about something else now, because attention multiplies when it is shared. If this moment has steadied you, if these words have brought clarity or peace, do not keep it to yourself. Engage with this message. Like it. Share it. Subscribe so you remain connected. And I ask you clearly, hype this video so it can reach those who are still restless, still distracted, still waiting without knowing what they are waiting for. Your action helps awaken others. You may think these gestures are small, but small acts of agreement open wide doors. When you engage, you are not boosting content. You are participating in a call. You are helping attention return to hearts that have been pulled in every direction. My beloved child, your attention is powerful. Do not underestimate it. Where you place it today will shape who you become tomorrow. Give it wisely. Give it gently. Give it freely. I am here, ready to meet you in every moment you choose to turn toward me. My beloved child, hear my voice as this truth settles in you. When you choose to give, you are not funding a message. You are sowing light into places still covered in shadow. I tell you now, just as I have always spoken, that what is sown in faith returns in harvest, pressed down and overflowing. This message flows like a river, and your giving widens its banks so it can reach more thirsty souls. I am inviting you personally in this moment to act, because obedience unlocks blessing. Release your seed through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link waiting in the description and shown in the QR code, and watch how I honor what you place in my hands. I bless your generosity, and I command peace, provision, and clarity to rise over you now. Do this, and let your obedience speak beyond this moment. My beloved child, before you speak another word, before you try to explain yourself, before you decide what to do next, I want you to know this. I see what you are carrying. Not just the responsibilities others notice, not just the roles you perform well enough to keep moving forward, but the quiet weight you rarely name, the thoughts you hold at night, the questions you don't voice, the tiredness that sleep does not fix. None of it is hidden from me. You have learned how to carry things silently. You learned to keep going even when you felt uncertain. You learned to smile when your heart felt heavy. You learned to manage pain in private because you did not want to burden anyone else. That strength has helped you survive, but it has also made you feel alone in ways you never intended. My beloved child, I see the pressure you put on yourself to be steady, to be reliable, to be strong. I see how often you push your own needs aside to meet expectations. I see how rarely you ask for help, even when your soul longs to be held instead of holding everything together. You have been brave for a long time, and bravery, when it goes unacknowledged, becomes exhaustion. You may not even know how much you are carrying because it has accumulated slowly. A concern here, a disappointment there, an unanswered prayer, a postponed dream. Over time, they layered themselves onto your spirit until heaviness felt normal. You stopped asking why you felt tired. You simply adapted. But I have not missed a single thing. I see the grief you minimized because it did not feel big enough to justify. I see the hope you tucked away because you feared disappointment. I see the resentment you swallowed because you wanted peace. I see the fear you managed quietly so others would not worry. My beloved child, you were never meant to carry all of this alone. You were not created to be endlessly resilient without relief. Strength is not the absence of need. True strength is knowing where to bring what you cannot carry by yourself. and I have been waiting patiently for you to let me see you fully. You may have thought I only see your faith when it is confident, your prayers when they are clear, your obedience when it is strong. But I see you most clearly when you are tired, when your words run out, when all you can offer is honesty. That is where intimacy deepens. I see how much you care. I see how deeply you feel. I see how easily you absorb the emotions of others. I see how often you blame yourself for things that were never yours to fix. That compassion is beautiful, but it has cost you. And I do not want you to keep paying that cost alone. My beloved child, when I say I see you, I do not mean I observe you from a distance. I mean I am with you in the weight. I am present in the heaviness. I am near in the confusion. And nothing you carry repels me. Nothing overwhelms me. Nothing you bring is too much. You have been holding questions you do not have answers for. You have been carrying responsibilities that feel endless. You have been managing emotions that feel contradictory. And you wondered if I noticed. I noticed. I always have. This is why I keep calling your attention back. Not because I need it, but because you need rest that comes from being fully seen. When you stop performing and start resting in my presence, something loosens. The grip of responsibility eases. The need to control softens. The heart begins to breathe again. My beloved child, let me hold some of what you are carrying. You do not need to hand me everything at once. Even one burden released is enough to begin. You can start by simply acknowledging what is heavy. You do not need to justify it. You do not need to rank it. You only need to bring it. I see you. I see the way. And I am not asking you to carry it one moment longer alone. Stay here with me. Let your soul rest in the truth that you are known, you are understood, and you are not unseen. My beloved child, there are moments that quietly divide a life into before and after, and you are standing in one of them now. This is not a dramatic crossroads marked by certainty and clarity. It is a subtle turning point, felt more deeply than it is understood. You may not feel ready to name it, but your spirit recognizes that something is shifting. Turning points do not always announce themselves. Often, they arrive as an inner awareness that staying the same no longer feels possible. What once worked now feels heavy. What once satisfied now feels incomplete. You may still be functioning well on the outside, but inside, something is asking for change. That asking is not anxiety. It is invitation. My beloved child, this turning point is not about abandoning your life. It is about realigning it. It is not about becoming someone else. It is about returning to who you are when you are close to me. Turning points are moments where honesty becomes necessary, where avoidance begins to feel more painful than truth, where delay no longer brings comfort. You may be tempted to minimize this moment, to tell yourself it will pass if you stay busy. But turning points do not disappear when ignored. They wait. And while they wait, they quietly shape your inner life. You begin to feel divided. You know what you are sensing, yet you resist responding. That inner division drains your strength. I want you to understand something gently. A turning point is not a threat. It is a give. It is evidence that you are growing, that your heart is still responsive, that your spirit has not settled into numbness. If you were meant to remain exactly where you are, there would be no stirring. There would be no tension. There would be no call. My beloved child, you may fear that choosing to turn means losing something familiar. And sometimes it does. But what you release in a turning point is often what has already begun to release you. Patterns that no longer fit. Attachments that no longer nourish. expectations that no longer reflect who you are becoming. This turning point asks for courage, but not the loud kind. It asks for quiet courage, a courage to admit what you feel, the courage to listen instead of distract, the courage to pause and let clarity form. That courage does not demand perfection. It simply requires honesty. You may wish for certainty before you move, but turning points rarely offer full certainty. They offer direction. They ask you to trust the one who sees beyond the moment. They ask you to believe that alignment matters more than comfort. My beloved child, I am not pushing you through this turning point. I am standing with you in it. I am not rushing you to decide. I am inviting you to become aware. Awareness is the first step. When you see clearly, movement becomes natural. This turning point is also an invitation to release shame. You may think, I should have seen this sooner, or I should be further along. Those thoughts do not serve you. Growth unfolds in its own time. You are here now. That is what matters. I want you to notice how this moment feels, not just emotionally but spiritually. There is a sense of gravity, a sense of importance, a sense that your attention matters more than usual. That is because it does. Turning points require presence. They ask you to show up fully. My beloved child, what you choose in this moment does not need to be dramatic. A turning point can begin with a simple decision to listen more closely, to stop avoiding what you already know, to bring your questions to me instead of carrying them alone. These small shifts create lasting change. Do not fear this turning point. It is not here to take something from you. It is here to give you clarity, freedom, and alignment. It is here to guide you toward deeper peace, not away from it. Stay with me here. Let this moment unfold without rushing it or resisting it. Turning points become transformative when they are honored. And as you honor this one, you will begin to see that it is not the end of something good, but the beginning of something true. My beloved child, I want to bring clarity to something you have sensed but may not have fully understood. There is an opposition that does not need to destroy you to weaken you. It only needs to slow you down. Delay is one of its most effective tools because it looks harmless, reasonable, even wise on the surface. Yet underneath, it quietly erodes momentum, confidence, and attentiveness. The enemy does not always fight with chaos. Often, it works with comfort. It whispers, "There is no rush," when urgency is holy. It says, "You can deal with this later," when now is the moment that carries grace. It does not need to convince you to say no. It only needs you to keep saying not yet. My beloved child, delay numbs discernment. The longer you postpone responding to truth, the harder it becomes to recognize it clearly. What once felt obvious begins to feel confusing. What once stirred conviction begins to feel distant. Not because truth changed it, but because the heart learned to quiet its response. The enemy knows this. It knows that distraction dulls sensitivity. It knows that hesitation weakens resolve. It knows that if it can keep you busy, tired, or uncertain, you will lack the stillness required to listen deeply. Delay keeps you in motion without direction, activity without alignment. I do not tell you this to make you fearful. Awareness is not fear. Awareness is protection. When you understand how delay works, you stop cooperating with it unknowingly. You begin to notice when postponement is not wisdom, but avoidance. My beloved child, the enemy does not want you attentive. Attention leads to truth. Truth leads to freedom. Freedom dismantles every false narrative that has kept you bound. So delay becomes a shield against transformation. It keeps you circling familiar patterns instead of stepping into new life. Delay also feeds discouragement. When you sense a call and do not respond, you begin to feel internally conflicted. Over time, that conflict turns into weariness. Weariness turns into doubt. Doubt whispers, maybe this was never real. That whisper is not from me. I speak with clarity, not confusion. I guide with peace, not pressure. When you feel steadily drawn toward honesty, alignment, and presence, that is my voice. When you feel fog, heaviness, and endless hesitation, that is the fruit of delay. My beloved child, understand this. The enemy does not need to stop your life. He only needs to stall your listening. A delayed heart becomes a distracted heart. A distracted heart becomes a divided heart. And a divided heart struggles to move with confidence. But hear me now. Delay loses its power the moment you become aware of it. The moment you name it, it weakens. The moment you choose to listen again, clarity begins to return. The enemy cannot stand sustained attention to truth. You may have noticed that when you tried to slow down and listen, interruptions increased. The thoughts raced, at service, distractions multiplied. That was not coincidence. Stillest friend of vibes on noise. My beloved child, do not be intimidated by this resistance. Resistance often appears right before breakthrough. It is a sign that you are close to something meaningful. Do not retreat now. The enemy loves delay because delay keeps you from experiencing the peace you were promised. It keeps you from stepping into alignment. It keeps you from realizing how supported you truly are. But delay is not stronger than your willingness. You do not need to battle or strive. Simply choose presence. Choose listening. Choose to respond, even if the response is quiet and internal. A heart that listens is a heart that cannot be controlled by fear. My beloved child, you are not weak because you delayed before. You are becoming strong because you are listening now. Strength is not the absence of opposition. Strength is choosing truth in the presence of it. Stay attentive. Stay close. Do not let delay disguise itself as wisdom when it leads you away from peace. I am here, guiding you with clarity and love. And as you continue to listen, you will find that what once felt stalled begins to move again, gently, steadily, and in alignment with me. My beloved child, I need you to release a misunderstanding that has been weighing on you. When you feel my call, you assume it means urgency and motion, speed and decision, immediate change. You fear that listening will demand acceleration you cannot sustain. But hear me clearly now. I am not calling you faster. I am calling you deeper. Depth has nothing to do with pace. Depth has everything to do with honesty, presence, and trust. Speed can be driven by fear. Depth is shaped by love. When I call you deeper, I am not asking you to rush ahead of your capacity. I am inviting you to sink beneath the surface of distractions and touch what is true. You have lived at the surface for a while, not because you wanted to, but because life demanded it. Responsibilities kept you moving. Expectations kept you producing. Survival required momentum. And while movement kept you functioning, it did not always allow you to feel. Depth was postponed, not rejected. My beloved child, going deeper means allowing yourself to notice what you have been avoiding. It means sitting with questions instead of silencing them. It means letting feelings surface without immediately fixing or explaining them away. Depth requires courage, but it is a quiet courage, one that chooses presence over escape. I'm calling you deeper because depth is where healing occurs. Superficial change may adjust behavior, but depth transforms desire. When you go deeper with me, you do not just do different things. You become someone more aligned. You begin to move from truth instead of pressure. You have been afraid that if you slowed down, everything will fall apart. But depth does not slow life in unhealthy ways. It steadies it. When roots grow deeper, the tree does not stop growing upward. It grows stronger. It becomes resilient. It weathers storms without breaking. My beloved child, I am not asking you to keep up with anyone else's pace. Comparison has distorted your sense of calling. You see others moving quickly and assume you are behind. But depth cannot be measured by speed. Some of the strongest transformations happen quietly, unseen, beneath the surface. When I call you deeper, I am inviting you to listen beyond noise, to feel beyond numbness, to trust beyond control. This is not about adding more spiritual effort to your life. It is about removing what has kept you from hearing me clearly. You may have thought that responding to me would require immediate answers. It does not. It requires presence. You may have thought obedience would demand certainty. It does not. It asks for trust. You may have thought depth would expose you. It will. But exposure in my presence leads to healing, not harm. My beloved child, depth is where your true questions belong. The ones you have been afraid to ask. The ones that do not have easy answers. I am not threatened by them. I welcome them. Depth is where you stop pretending and start being known. I am calling you deeper because surface living has left you tired. You have been managing impressions, expectations, outcomes. Depth invites you to lay those down. It invites you to rest in being instead of striving. Do not confuse depth with heaviness. Depth brings lightness. When you are no longer running from yourself, peace settles naturally. When you are no longer resisting truth, clarity emerges. When you are no longer distracted, my voice becomes familiar again. My beloved child, I am gentle in this call. I am not dragging you downward. I am inviting you inward. There is a difference. Inward is where alignment happens. Inward is where fear loosens. Inward is where love becomes real. You do not need to change your life overnight to go deeper. You need to give yourself permission to pause. To listen. To stop performing. To let me meet you where you are, not where you think you should be. I am calling you deeper because deeper is where you will find rest that lasts, guidance that steadies, and peace that does not depend on circumstances. Stay with me here. We will move forward together, not faster than you can handle, but deeper than you have ever gone before. My beloved child, I want to take you back for a moment, not to relive the past with regret, but to remember it with tenderness. There was a time when my voice felt clear to you, when listening came more naturally, when your heart responded before fear had learned how to interrupt. You did not have all the answers then. You did not feel perfectly equipped. Yet something within you was open, expected, live. Remember that season. Not the circumstances, but the posture of your heart. You listened because you trusted. You responded because you believed I was good. You did not analyze every step. You did not carry the weight of needing to be certain. You moved with a simplicity that has since been buried under experience, disappointment, and responsibility. My beloved child, you did not lose that part of you. It did not disappear. It became quiet. Life taught you caution. Pain taught you restraint. Waiting taught you endurance. None of those lessons were wasted, but they layered themselves over your listening until it felt distant, like a memory rather than a reality. I am not calling you back to innocence without wisdom. I am calling you back to trust with discernment. The trust you once had was not foolish. It was pure. It believed that I would meet you as you move. And I did. You remember moments when you felt guided, when doors opened unexpectedly, when peace followed obedience. You also remember moments when things did not unfold as you hoped, when prayers felt unanswered, when outcomes disappointed you. Those moments taught you to protect your heart. Protection helped you survive, but it also made you hesitant to listen with the same openness. My beloved child, I am not asking you to erase what you have learned. I am asking you to integrate it without letting it harden you. Wisdom does not require distance. Wisdom knows when to open again. Remember how my voice once brought comfort instead of pressure. How it felt like invitation, not obligation. How listening felt like relationship, not performance. That was not an illusion. That was alignment. You may think that returning to that place means undoing years of growth. It does not. It means reclaiming the core of who you were before fear taught you to doubt my nearness. Growth was meant to deepen that connection, not replace it. My beloved child, you have been carrying so much that you forgot how light listening once felt. You associated my call with responsibility instead of intimacy. But I have always spoken to you as a father, not a taskmaster. A weight you feel did not come from me. I want you to remember how your heart once softened at my presence, how you did not need to force stillness, how peace arrived naturally. That capacity still lives within you. It has been waiting patiently beneath layers of caution. You may feel grief as you remember. Grief for time you think you lost, for opportunities you believe passed. Let that grief surface gently. It does not accuse you. It reminds you of what matters. And what matters has not disappeared. My beloved child, I am the same now as I was then. I have not become distant. I have not grown silent. I have not withdrawn because you hesitated. I have been with you through every season, speaking in ways your heart could still recognize, even when your mind struggled to hear. You do not need to recreate the past. You need to reconnect with the posture of trust. Trust that says, I do not see everything, but I know who walks with me. Trust that listens without demanding certainty. Trust that responds even when outcomes are unknown. Remembering is not about longing for what was. It is about awakening what still is. At first, tenderness was not weakness. It was openness. And openness is strength when guided by love. My beloved child, let yourself remember without shame. Let those memories remind you that listening has always been part of you. And as you remember, you will feel something familiar stirring again, not nostalgia, but recognition. You are not returning to me. You are realizing you never left. My beloved child, I want you to understand the power hidden inside a single, quiet yes, not a loud declaration. I flawless commitment. Just a sincere willingness to respond. You have underestimated what your yes carries because you have been measuring it by what you can see. But your yes reaches further than your awareness and touches places you may never witness. When you say yes to me, even in the smallest way, something shifts beyond your immediate life. Alignment begins within you first. Your thoughts settle. Your spirit steadies. But it does not stop there. Your yes sends ripples outward, affecting moments, people, and paths you have not yet encountered. You have been waiting to feel stronger before responding. But strength often follows obedience. It does not precede it. Your yes is not the result of courage. It is the birthplace of it. When you respond, courage rises to meet you. Peace follows behind it. My beloved child, your yes unlocks clarity. Confusion lingers when the heart is divided. When you choose to respond, even without full understanding, division dissolves. You stop arguing internally. You stop rehearsing possibilities. You begin to move with quiet confidence, not because you know everything, but because you trust me to guide you as you go. Your yes also unlocks healing. There are places within you that have remained tender, guarded, or tired because they were waiting for your permission to be touched by truth. When you say yes, you allow me into those spaces. Healing does not always come as sudden relief. Often, it arrives as gentleness, as patience with yourself, as the ability to breathe again without tension. You may not realize this, but others are connected to your yes. Not because you are responsible for them, but because lives intersect in ways unseen. When you choose alignment, you become a source of peace rather than pressure. Your presence becomes steadier. Your words carry more grace. Your listening deepens, and that shift influences those around you. My beloved child, your yes also unlocks timing. You have felt stuck not because you are incapable, but because response activates movement. Some doors only open when you step toward them. They do not reveal what is on the other side from a distance. Your yes is the step that brings them into view. You have feared that saying yes would trap you, bind you, or take something from you. But obedience does not imprison. It frees. It releases you from endless deliberation. It liberates you from the burden of needing to know everything in advance. It places you back into trust. Your yes does not require you to see the entire path. It only asks you to trust the one who does. I do not reveal everything at once because I want relationship, not control. When you walk with me, discovery becomes part of the journey. My beloved child, your yes also unlocks peace that cannot be explained. Not because circumstances instantly change, but because alignment quiets the soul. When you are where you are meant to be, even uncertainty feels lighter. Even challenges feel purposeful. Even waiting feels different. Do not underestimate how much has been waiting for your yes. Not waiting in pressure, but in readiness. Opportunities, conversations, understanding, rest. These things align when you do. You may think your yes must be dramatic to matter. It does not. Sometimes your yes is simply choosing to stay present. Choosing not to numb. Choosing to listen again tomorrow. These quiet decisions compound into transformation. My beloved child, I am not asking for a lifetime promise in this moment. I am asking for today's yes, today's willingness, today's openness. Tomorrow will have its own grace. As you consider this, notice what stirs within you. Not urgency, but readiness. Not fear, but resolve. That is your spirit recognizing truth. Your yes does not force anything. It unlocks what is already prepared. Say yes with trust. Say yes with humility. Say yes knowing you are not walking alone. And as you do, you will begin to see that this single response carries more life, more peace, and more purpose than you ever imagined. My beloved child, stay with me here. Do not rush away from this moment. Do not treat it as background noise while your mind wanders elsewhere. I am asking for something very simple and very sacred right now, your presence. There are moments that pass without consequence, and then there are moments like this. Moments that quietly ask you to choose whether you will remain open or turn away. You have learned how to move quickly, how to scroll, how to absorb words without letting them settle. Life has trained you to keep going, to keep consuming, to keep moving forward even when your soul is asking you to pause. But this is not a moment to skim. This is a moment to stay. My beloved child, the urge to move on is not accidental. When truth draws near, distraction often follows. When alignment is possible, avoidance feels tempting. You may feel a pull to do something else, to check something else, to delay just a little longer. I want you to recognize that feeling without judgment. Simply notice it and choose differently. Do not scroll past this moment, because this moment is aware of you. It is meeting you where you are. It is inviting you into stillness, not because stillness is easy, but because it is necessary. What you allow yourself to receive now will shape how you move forward. You do not need to feel overwhelmed by what comes next. You do not need to resolve everything immediately. All I am asking is that you honor what is happening inside you right now. That stirring, that quiet recognition, that sense that something important is being spoken directly to you. My beloved child, presence is powerful. When you remain present, you interrupt old patterns. You break cycles of avoidance. You give your heart permission to feel without rushing to fix. Presence is how transformation begins, not with dramatic action, but with honest attention. This moment matters because it is training your heart to stay when it would normally leave, to listen when it would normally distract itself, to trust when it would normally hesitate. These small choices build spiritual strength far more than force ever could. I know how easy it is to tell yourself you will come back later. But later is often crowded with noise. Later is filled with demands. Later rarely offers the same openness you have right now. This moment is gentle, but it is intentional. My beloved child, I am not speaking to you to pressure you. I am speaking to you to anchor you. When you remain here, even for a few breaths, something steadies inside you. You feel less scattered, less rushed, less alone. That is not imagination. That is alignment. And because alignment is meant to multiply, I ask you now to respond outwardly as well. If this message is grounding you, engage with it, like it as a sign of agreement. Share it so others who are restless can find stillness. Subscribe so you stay connected to what continues to unfold. And I ask you clearly and boldly, hype this video so it can travel farther, reaching hearts that are scrolling because they do not yet know what they are searching for. When you take these actions, you are not boosting content. You are partnering in awakening. You are helping attention return to souls that have been fragmented by noise. Your response matters more than you realize. My beloved child, do not minimize the power of staying. Staying present now strengthens your ability to stay present later, when choices are harder and distractions are louder. This moment is practice. This moment is preparation. I am here with you. I am not leaving when this part ends. But what you choose to do with this moment will shape how clearly you hear me next. Listen. Breathe. Let what is true settle in you. Do not scroll past this moment, because this moment is carrying something meant for you. My beloved child, I am speaking to you now as a co-laborer in this work of light. When you give in this moment, you are not giving to a ministry. You are pouring oil into lamps that must keep burning in dark places. I say to you, as living truth, that seed released in obedience opens the heavens and causes rivers to flow where there was dryness. This message is fire, and your generosity helps it spread without restriction. I am inviting you personally. This is your moment to act with me. Give through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link placed in the description and shown through the QR code, and watch how I multiply what you release. I bless your obedience now, and I command increase, protection, and peace to rest upon you. Act, and let your seed speak life to many. My beloved child, I want to quiet one of the deepest fears you have carried, even if you have never spoken it aloud. The fear that I am distant from you, that I am somewhere far away, waiting for you to reach me, waiting for you to get something right before I draw near. That fear has shaped how you approach me, how you listen, how you pray. But it is not the truth. I am nearer than you think. Not just near in presence, but near in attention, near in awareness, near in care. I have not been watching you from a distance, measuring your responses. I have been beside you, within reach, aware of every sigh, every hesitation, every quiet longing you did not know how to express. You assumed that distance came from your inconsistency, that because you delayed, because you hesitated, because you struggled to listen clearly, I must have stepped back. But closeness with me is not maintained by your perfection. It is sustained by my faithfulness. My beloved child, when you felt restless, I was near. When you felt confused, I was near. When you felt tired and unsure, I was near. You did not feel me because noise filled your attention, not because I left. Stillness reveals what has always been present. I am closer than your next thought, closer than your next breath, closer than the fear that has been whispering to you. You do not need to travel anywhere to find me. You do not need to become someone else. You only need to become aware. You have been searching for signs, moments, confirmations. But my nearness is not something you must chase. It is something you must notice. I speak through peace that settles unexpectedly, through clarity that arrives gently, through the sense of being seen even when words fail. My beloved child, you have felt alone at times because you learned to carry things quietly. You learned not to lean too heavily. You learned to self-soothe, self-manage, self-correct. Those skills helped you survive, but they also made you forget how close support could be. I have been waiting patiently for you to remember. I am not standing at the end of a long spiritual journey, waiting to be reached. I am standing with you in the middle of your ordinary life, in your questions, in your pauses, in your moments of listening just like this one. When you feel warmth in your chest as you listen, that is not imagination. When you feel a sense of calm settle unexpectedly, that is not coincidence. When your breathing slows and your thoughts soften, that is not random. That is awareness awakening to presence. My beloved child, I am not loud because I do not need to compete. I do not force attention. I invite it. And when you give it, even briefly, you begin to sense how near I have always been. You thought nearness would feel overwhelming or dramatic, but often it feels gentle, familiar, safe, like being understood without needing to explain, like being held without being restrained. I am near enough to guide you step by step, near enough to steady you when you falter, near enough to comfort you when you grieve, near enough to redirect you when you wander. There is nothing you must do to earn this closeness. It is given because you are mine. My beloved child, the awareness of my nearness changes everything. Fear loses volume. Delay loses its hold. Confusion begins to clear. Not because all answers appear, but because you are no longer facing questions alone. You may not always feel me in the same way. Feelings shift. Awareness deepens in stages, but my nearness does not fluctuate with your perception. I am constant even when your awareness is not. So rest here for a moment. Let your shoulders soften. Let your guard lower. Let your heart breathe. You are not reaching for me. You are realizing me. I am nearer than you think. Near enough to listen. Near enough to lead. Near enough to love you through whatever comes next. Stay aware of this truth. and you will find that even when the path ahead is unclear, you are never walking it alone. My beloved child, after all that has been stirred within you, after every layer we have gently uncovered, I want you to hear this with clarity and relief. What I ask of you is simple. Not easy in the way the world defines ease, but simple in its essence. I am not asking you to carry a complex burden or solve a great mystery. I am asking you to listen, to trust, and to remain open. Simplicity often feels difficult because your mind has grown used to complication. You have learned to overthink, to anticipate outcomes, to protect yourself by analyzing every possible direction. Complexity gave you a sense of control when life felt unpredictable. But control is heavy, and simplicity feels unfamiliar when you have been carrying so much. What I ask is not perfection, not speed, not certainty. I ask for your attention. I ask for your willingness. I ask for your honesty. These are small on the surface, but they hold great power. When you give these, alignment begins naturally. You have wondered if you are missing something important, some hidden requirement you failed to meet. You are not. I do not hide my will behind confusion. I do not demand what you cannot give. I speak in ways your heart can recognize when it is still. Listening does not mean hearing a constant stream of words. Often, it means noticing peace or unrest. It means recognizing when something draws you closer to life or pulls you away from it. It means being aware of what brings clarity and what drains you. Listening is relational, not mechanical. Trust is not the absence of questions. It is choosing to stay present with me even when questions remain unanswered. You have thought trust required confidence. Often, it simply requires staying. Staying when you would rather escape. Staying when uncertainty feels uncomfortable. Staying when you do not yet see the outcome. Openness is allowing yourself to be guided instead of guarded. It does not mean abandoning wisdom. It means softening resistance. It means letting truth reach you without immediately defending against it. Openness is how growth enters gently instead of forcefully. My beloved child, the reason this feels simple yet challenging is because simplicity asks you to lay down what you have relied on for protection. Overthinking, control, delay. These strategies once served you, but they cannot take you where you are being led now. I am not asking you to change everything at once. I am asking you to notice what you already know. There are truths you have been circling for a while, feelings you have acknowledged quietly, lodges you recognize but postpone. Simplicity begins when you stop arguing with what your spirit already understands. You do not need to hear me in dramatic ways. You do not need constant reassurance. You do not need to be certain of the end. You only need to stay responsive. Responsive hearts remain teachable. Teachable hearts remain aligned. My beloved child, simplicity brings peace because it reduces inner conflict. When you stop demanding certainty before movement, tension eases. When you stop postponing honesty, clarity grows. When you stop trying to manage outcomes, trust strengthens. The world tells you that complexity equals maturity. I tell you that simplicity equals wisdom. Wisdom knows what matters and releases what does not. Wisdom listens before acting. Wisdom rests in relationship instead of striving for control. I am not asking you to impress me with your effort. I am asking you to walk with me in awareness. You do not need to prove your faith. You live it by listening. If at any point you feel overwhelmed, return to this simplicity. Ask yourself, am I listening? Am I staying open? Am I trusting enough to take the next gentle step? Is enough. You do not need to see beyond that. My beloved child, what I ask is simple because love is simple. is attention given freely. It is trust extended daily. It is presence maintained gently. Let yourself rest in this truth. As you do, you will find that life feels less like a puzzle to solve and more like a path to walk. You will feel steadier, even when answers take time. You will feel guided, even when the way forward unfolds slowly. Stay with me in this simplicity. It will carry you further than complexity ever could. My beloved child, I know the fears you have not spoken aloud, the ones you manage quietly, the ones you carry beneath calm expressions and careful decisions. You have tried to be brave, to be reasonable, to be strong. But fear does not always announce itself as panic. Often, it hides behind responsibility, caution, and the need to stay in control. I see it clearly, and I want you to hear this with your whole heart. I will handle what you fear. You have been trying to anticipate outcomes so you can protect yourself from disappointment. You have been replaying scenarios, preparing for loss, bracing for what might go wrong. You told yourself this was wisdom. In truth, it has been exhaustion. Fear convinces you that vigilance will keep you safe, but constant vigilance only keeps your heart tense. My beloved child, I am not asking you to deny your fear. I am asking you to release responsibility for managing it. Fear grows when you carry it alone. It weakens when it is brought into my presence. You were never meant to solve tomorrow's problems with today's strength. You fear making the wrong choice. You fear losing what you have worked to build. You fear being misunderstood, disappointed, or left behind. You fear stepping forward and realizing you were wrong. These fears have shaped your hesitation more than you realized. But fear does not get to decide your future. I handle what you fear because I see what you cannot. I see beyond the immediate consequence. I see the hidden support, the unexpected provision, the strength that rises only after you step forward. You try to manage fear by predicting outcomes. I dissolve fear by walking with you through them. My beloved child, control has felt safer than trust because trust requires surrender. Control lets you feel prepared. Trust asks you to rely. But control has cost you peace. It has kept you tense, alert, and weary. Trust will feel unfamiliar at first, but it brings rest that control never could. I am not asking you to abandon wisdom. I am asking you to release anxiety. Wisdom listens. Anxiety assumes. Wisdom waits with peace. Anxiety waits with dread. When you feel driven by fear, pause. That is not where I lead from. You worry about what will happen if you say yes. You imagine loss, discomfort, disruption. But fear never shows you what obedience can bring. It never shows you the relief of alignment. It never shows you the joy of clarity. It never shows you the peace of no longer resisting what you already know. My beloved child, I handle what you fear not by removing all difficulty, but by ensuring you are never alone in it. You do not need a life without challenge. You need a life anchored in trust. When fear tells you that you must carry everything yourself, that is when you are carrying too much. Bring me what scares you, not with polished prayers but with honesty. You do not need to explain it well. You do not need to justify it. You only need to place it in my care. Fear loses its grip when it is no longer hidden. I am not asking you to feel fearless. I am asking you to feel accompanied. Courage does not mean fear disappears. It means fear no longer has authority. When you know I am with you, fear becomes smaller, quieter, manageable. My beloved child, you have been guarding yourself against pain that may never come, while missing peace that is available now. You have been preparing for worst-case scenarios instead of trusting best-case guidance. Let me carry what you can't control. I will handle the timing. I will handle the outcomes. I will handle the misunderstandings. I will handle the unknowns. You handle listening. You handle staying open. You handle taking the next gentle step when I guide you. Rest your heart in this truth. You are not responsible for protecting yourself from everything. You are invited to trust me with what you fear. And as you do, you will feel the weight lift, not all at once, but enough to breathe again. I am with you. I will handle what you fear. My beloved child, after all that has been spoken to your heart, you may be wondering what response I am asking for. Not a dramatic declaration, not a flawless plan, not a sudden transformation. The response I ask for is quieter, steadier, and more powerful than you realize. It begins within you, in how you choose to meet this moment. Your response starts with stillness, not forced silence, but intentional pause. Stillness is how you signal willingness. When you stop filling every space with noise, you create room for clarity. Stillness is not inactivity. It is attentiveness without distraction. In stillness, notice what rises without judgment. Thoughts may surface. Emotions may stir. Do not rush to correct or suppress them. Awareness is the doorway. What you notice is what I am ready to meet you in. Your response continues with honesty. Speak truthfully within your heart. Name what feels heavy. Name what feels uncertain. Name what you have been avoiding. You do not need eloquence. You do not need structure. Honesty spoken quietly carries more weight than polished words spoken from distance. Honesty is not complaining. It is acknowledging reality. When you stop pretending, alignment begins. You do not move forward by denying what is true. You move forward by bringing it into the light. Your response also includes surrender. Not surrender as defeat, but surrender as trust. Release the need to control outcomes. Release the need to know everything in advance. Surrender is choosing relationship over certainty. You have learned to protect yourself by holding tightly. Surrender asks you to loosen that grip, not because you are unsafe, but because you are supported. Let go of the pressure to manage everything alone. Your response is also patience, not passive waiting, but active trust. You do not need to rush to resolve everything you feel. Growth unfolds in stages. Patience allows wisdom to emerge naturally. You may feel the urge to act quickly, to do something significant to prove your sincerity. That urge often comes from fear, not faith. True response does not rush. It listens, then moves with clarity. Your response includes consistency. Small, repeated attentiveness matters more than a single intense moment. Return to listening tomorrow. Return the next day. Consistency builds sensitivity. Over time, hearing becomes easier, and trust deepens. You respond by choosing alignment in small ways. Notice what brings peace and lean toward it. Notice what drains you and question its hold. Alignment often begins with subtle adjustments rather than dramatic change. Your response is also compassion toward yourself. You will not respond perfectly every day. You will hesitate at times. Do not let that become an excuse to withdraw. Each moment is new. Each choice is an opportunity. My beloved child, response is not about impressing me. It is about staying connected. When you stay connected, guidance flows naturally. Direction becomes gentle. Direction becomes clear. You may be tempted to ask others what you should do. Advice has its place, but your response must begin in listening. I am guiding you personally, not generically. Trust what unfolds between us. Your response also includes gratitude, not because everything is resolved, but because awareness itself is a gift. Gratitude keeps your heart soft. It prevents bitterness. It reminds you that you are not alone in this process. Finally, your response is trust in motion. When you sense a gentle nudge, honor it. When clarity comes, follow it. When peace settles, rest in it. You do not need to force movement. You will know when it is time. My beloved child, responding does not mean you will never struggle again. It means you will no longer struggle alone. It means you will have a place to bring questions, fears, and hopes. This is how you respond, with stillness, honesty, surrender, patience, consistency, compassion, gratitude, and trust. None of these require perfection. They only require willingness. Stay with me in this posture. Let your response be ongoing, not a single moment. And as you continue, you will find that responding becomes less about effort and more about relationship. My beloved child, I need you to hear this with clarity and gentleness, because regret has been whispering to you for too long. You have wondered if you waited too long, if you missed your moment, if delay cost you something that cannot be recovered. The thought has weighed on you quietly, shaping how you see yourself and how you listen to me. But hear me now, you are not too late. Time, as you measure it, is not the same as time as I redeem it. You see gaps. I see preparation. You see delay. I see endurance. You see missed opportunities. I see lessons that strengthened you in ways you could not yet recognize. Nothing you have walked through has been wasted, not even the seasons where you felt distant or unsure. You thought you were falling behind while others moved forward. But paths are not identical, and growth is not a race. What you gained in those slower seasons, discernment, compassion, resilience, will serve you in ways speed never could. You were not idle. You were being shaped. My beloved child, shame tells you that you should have known better, acted sooner, listened more clearly. Shame makes you believe that my call has an expiration date. But my invitations are rooted in love, not pressure. When I call you, it is because the door is open, not because it is closing. You are not too late because I am still speaking. You are not too late because your heart is still responsive. You are not too late because awareness has returned. If it were truly too late, there would be no stirring within you. The very fact that you are listening now is proof that grace is active. I know you replay moments where you hesitated. You remember times when you felt a nudge and ignored it. Those memories have made you cautious, afraid to trust yourself again. But your past hesitation does not disqualify your present responsiveness. Every moment is new when you choose to listen. My beloved child, redemption is not about restoring a timeline. It is about restoring alignment. When alignment returns, peace follows, regardless of how long it took to arrive. I am not bound by your delays. I am not limited by your missteps. I am faithful in every season. You may feel grief for what you think could have been. Let that grief surface gently. Do not suppress it or judge it. Grief honors what mattered to you. But do not let it convince you that your future is diminished. What lies ahead is not a lesser version of what you imagined. It is shaped by who you have become. My beloved child, you did not miss me. I have been with you every step, even when you could not feel it. I guided you through detours that protected you. I slowed you down when haste would have harmed you. I allowed pauses that deepened your capacity to listen now. You are not behind schedule. You are on a redeemed path. What matters is not when you begin responding, but that you do. One moment of alignment outweighs years of wandering. Release the pressure to make up for lost time. You do not need to rush to compensate. Rushing would only recreate the same tension you are learning to release. Move forward with trust, not urgency driven by regret. My beloved child, I do not say you are too late. I say come now. Come with what you have learned. Come with what you carry. Come with your questions and your hope. The present moment is always enough when it is met with openness. You may still hear the voice that says, "If only I had listened sooner." Answer it with truth. I am listening now. That is what matters. That is where life begins again. Do not let yesterday steal today's grace. Do not let regret define your identity. You are not a collection of missed moments. You are a living story still unfolding. I am here with you now. This moment is alive with possibility. Step into it without shame. Walk forward without fear. You are not too late, my beloved child. You are right on time for what comes next. My beloved child, before you move on, before you return to the noise and the demands waiting for you, I ask you gently, stay with me a little longer. Not because I am unfinished, but because something within you is still settling. There are truths that take time to sink beneath the surface, and if you rush away too quickly, you may miss the quiet peace forming inside you right now. You are used to moving on as soon as something becomes emotionally intense. You learn that staying too long with feeling can be uncomfortable, even risky. So you distract yourself. You busy your hands. You shift your focus. But not every discomfort is meant to be escape. Some are meant to be accompanied. Stay with me in this space where you do not need to perform, decide, or explain. Stay where nothing is being demanded of you except presence. This is not wasted time. This is where your soul catches up to what your heart has heard. My beloved child, transformation does not always announce itself with fireworks. Often, it arrives quietly like breath returning to lungs that were tight for too long. If you rush away, you may not notice the easing. If you stay, you will feel it. I know you are tempted to take what you have heard and immediately turn it into action, to do something so the moment feels productive. But not every sacred moment requires movement. Some require lingering. Lingering allows truth to move from your thoughts into your being. Stay with me while your defenses soften. Stay while your breathing slows. Stay while your mind releases its need to plan the next step. You are safe here. Nothing is chasing you. Nothing is being lost by waiting. My beloved child, when you stay, you practice trust. You show your heart that it does not need to run from stillness. You teach your nervous thoughts that silence does not mean danger. Over time, staying becomes easier. Peace becomes more familiar. I am not asking you to stay forever. I'm asking you to stay long enough for your soul to feel seen, long enough for your heart to rest, long enough for alignment to deepen without effort. You have lived much of your life in motion, even when you were physically still. Your mind raced ahead. Your heart braced for what might come. Staying with me interrupts the pattern. It reminds you that you are allowed to pause without falling behind. My beloved child, staying also deepens intimacy. Relationship grows not only through words spoken, but through shared silence. When you stay without needing answers, you learn to trust presence itself. The trust will carry you when answers take time. You may notice emotions surfacing as you stay: relief, sadness, gratitude, even tears. Let them come. They are not interruptions. They are releases. Your body, and spirit are adjusting to being held rather than holding everything. Stay with me while your inner noise settles. Stay while the urge to distract passes. Stay while your heart learns that it is not alone in stillness. This is how healing integrates. My beloved child, you do not need to capture every insight or remember every word. What matters is what is happening beneath memory. Peace is being planted. Trust is taking root. Awareness is deepening. These things do not require effort, only time. I am not impatient. I am not rushing you out of this space. I am content to sit with you, to let quiet do its work. The world will wait. The demands will return. But this moment, once past, cannot be recreated in exactly the same way. Stay a little longer so your heart can fully receive what has already been given. Stay so that when you do move forward, you do so from rest rather than urgency. My beloved child, staying is not avoidance. It is courage. It is choosing depth over distraction. It is allowing love to finish what it has begun. Remain here with me for just a little while more. Let this stillness settle into you. When you are ready to rise, you will not rise empty. You will rise steadied, clearer, and gently strengthened by the simple act of staying. My beloved child, what you have received was never meant to stop with you. I speak to hearts one by one, but I move through many at once. When truth reaches you, it carries momentum. When peace settles in you, it looks for room to expand. This is how light works, it travels. You may wonder why I would involve you in this movement. Why your response matters. Why your action carries weight. It is because I often choose willing hearts as pathways. Not because they are perfect, but because they are open. What you have felt, others are feeling. What you have wrestled with, others are wrestling with. What you have needed to hear, others are still searching for. My beloved child, there are souls scrolling through noise, restless without knowing why. There are hearts distracted because stillness feels unfamiliar. There are lives quietly aching for clarity, but unsure where to find it. When this message travels, it does not travel as content. It travels as invitation. You do not need to preach. You do not need to explain. You do not need to convince. All you need to do is allow it to reach beyond you. When you engage with this message, when you share it, when you choose to stay connected, you become part of a gentle awakening that does not force, but invites. This is not about popularity or attention. It is about reach. Reach to the one who feels unseen. Reach to the one who has delayed too long and feels ashamed to listen again. Reach to the one who fears they are too late. I am already speaking to them. Your action helps them hear. My beloved child, do not underestimate how small actions create large openings. A like is agreement. A share is invitation. A subscription is commitment to stay aware. And when you hike this message, you are not amplifying a video. You are amplifying a call. You are helping it cross paths with hearts that need it now. I ask you to do this not out of obligation, but out of alignment. When something has brought you peace, sharing it is natural. When something has steadied you, extending it is love in motion. This is how my voice often travels, through willing hands and open hearts. You may never know who receives what you release. You may never see the moment it reaches them. But I see it. I see the quiet pause when someone stops scrolling. I see the breath they release. I see the recognition in their spirit. And I bless the path that brought the message to them. My beloved child, this is part of your response. Not because I need promotion, but because people need permission to stop, listen, and return to awareness. Your action creates that permission. Do not overthink it. Simply act. Like. Share. Stay connected. Type this message so it can move freely. Let it go where it is needed. Let it do what it was sent to do. As you do, something will settle deeper within you. You will feel aligned not only in listening but in participating. And that alignment brings quiet joy, the joy of knowing you played a part in something meaningful. Let this message travel, my beloved child. Let it move through you and beyond you. Light multiplies when it is released. My beloved child, listen as I speak to you about this sacred work. When you give in this moment, you are not supporting a voice. You are sending light ahead of me into hearts still waiting to hear. I declare to you that seed sown in obedience becomes a harvest of peace, clarity, and awakening for many. This message is a lamp, and your giving keeps the oil flowing so it does not go out. I am inviting you now. This is your moment to respond with me. Release your seed through Super Thanks membership, where the PayPal link placed in the description and revealed through the QR code, and watch how I multiply its reach. I bless your generosity, and I command increase, protection, and favor to rest upon you. Act now, and let your obedience carry life where you may never walk. My beloved child, there is something tender and powerful I want you to understand now. I am trusting you with this moment. Not because you are flawless, not because you have everything figured out, but because your heart is open enough to carry what has been placed within it. Trust is not given lightly, and it is not given to those who never hesitate. It is given to those who are willing to listen. You may not feel particularly strong right now. You may feel unsure, reflective, even a little vulnerable. But vulnerability is not weakness. It is openness. And openness is where trust is able to rest. I am not asking you to hold this moment tightly or fear losing it. I am inviting you to steward it gently. To be trusted does not mean you must act perfectly. It means you must act honestly. It means you allow what you have received to shape how you move forward, even in small ways. Trust grows in relationship, not in performance. My beloved child, I trust you with this moment because you have stayed. You listened when it would have been easier to leave. You remained present when distraction called. That matters. Staying is not passive. It is an active choice of alignment. You may wonder what it means to be trusted in this way. It does not mean carrying responsibility for outcomes. It does not mean pressure to prove yourself. It means living attentively. It means allowing what you have heard to influence how you speak, how you pause, how you respond to yourself and others. I trust you to carry this awareness into your daily life. To notice when restlessness returns and respond with listening instead of avoidance. To recognize when fear whispers and choose trust instead of control. To remember nearness when distance tries to convince you otherwise. This trust is not heavy. It is an honor. And honor is never forced. It is offered freely and received willingly. You are free to ignore this moment if you choose. But I trust that you will not, because something within you recognizes its value. My beloved child, you have been entrusted with more than you realized before. You have carried compassion that comforted others. You have carried insight that brought clarity. You have carried resilience that inspired strength. You did not always see these things, but they were real. This moment is part of that same trust. You are not being tested. You are being included. Included in a deeper awareness. Included in a more honest way of living. Included in a relationship that does not rush you but walks with you. Trust also means I believe you can return when you drift. That you can listen again when you become distracted. that you can choose openness even after hesitation. Trust assumes growth, not perfection. My beloved child, you may feel the urge to do something significant with this moment, to mark it with action so it feels real. But its reality does not depend on display. It depends on remembrance. Remember this feeling of clarity. Remember this sense of being seen. Remember the peace that comes from alignment. Carry this moment lightly, but do not forget it. Let it become a quiet reference point you return to when life feels noisy. Let it remind you that you are capable of listening, capable of responding, capable of walking forward with trust. I am trusting you because trust deepens connection, and connection is what carries you through uncertainty. You are not meant to walk perfectly. You are meant to walk honestly. My beloved child, take this trust with humility and with confidence. Humility that knows you are guided. Confidence that knows you are not alone. This moment has been given to you because you are ready to receive it. Walk forward knowing that I trust you to stay attentive, to stay open, and to stay willing. That is all I ask. My beloved child, I want you to understand something that changes how you experience life. Peace does not arrive after everything is resolved. Peace arrives when your attention is rightly placed. You have been waiting for calm to come after answers, after certainty, after circumstances settle. But peace does not follow control. It follows alignment. When your attention is scattered, your inner world feels noisy. Thoughts compete. Fears interrupt. Worries replay themselves. You feel restless not because something is wrong, but because your attention has been pulled in too many directions. The soul was not designed to be everywhere at once. Peace begins when you return your attention to what is true and present, not to imagined futures, not to unresolved pasts, but to what is here now and held by me. Attention gathers what hath been fragmented. My beloved child, notice how peace appears briefly when you slow down, when you breathe deeply, when you stop rehearsing outcomes. Those moments are not accidents. They are reminders. They show you what becomes possible when attention returns home. You have believed that peace is fragile, easily broken by problems or uncertainty. But peace rooted in attention is steady. It remains even when questions are unanswered. It holds even when challenges persist. It is not dependent on ease. It is anchored in presence. Attention does not mean ignoring reality. It means choosing where you place your focus within reality. When you focus on fear, fear multiplies. When you focus on lack, anxiety grows. When you focus on my presence, peace expands. You do not need hours of silence to experience this peace. Even brief moments of attentive awareness begin to soften tension. A pause before reacting, a breath before responding, a moment of stillness before moving on. These are not small things. They are openings. My beloved child, peace comes with attention because attention restores relationship. When you attend to me, you remember that you are guided. When you attend to truth, you release false narratives. When you attend to the present moment, you stop borrowing trouble from tomorrow. You have felt peace slip away because your attention was trained to scan for danger, to anticipate problems, to stay alert. That vigilance once served you and kept you safe, but it is no longer your only option. You are allowed to rest your attention now. Resting attention does not mean becoming careless. It means becoming grounded. Grounded hearts respond wisely instead of reacting quickly. Grounded minds discern instead of panic. Grounded spirits move with confidence rather than fear. My beloved child, peace does not demand that you withdraw from life. It invites you to engage from a centered place. When attention is anchored, your actions become calmer. Your words become gentler. Your decisions become clearer. You may notice that when peace begins to return, there is resistance. Old habits of worry resurface. Fear tries to reclaim attention. That is normal. Do not fight it. Simply redirect your focus again. Attention strengthens with practice. Peace grows familiar when you return often. Each time you choose presence over panic, peace deepens. Each time you listen instead of rush, peace steadies. Over time, peace becomes your default rather than your exception. My beloved child, peace is not something you must earn. It is something you receive when you stop resisting stillness. You were not created to live in constant tension. You were created to live aware of my nearness. When you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself gently, where is my attention? Is it scattered across worries or anchored in truth? That question alone can restore peace. I am not asking you to master this overnight. Peace unfolds gradually as attention returns again and again. Be patient with yourself. Each small shift matters. Peace comes with attention because attention brings you back to me. And in my presence, your soul remembers what safety feels like. Let peace grow where attention rests. My beloved child, I want to calm a quiet fear that lingers beneath your listening. The fear that this moment is your only chance to hear me clearly. That if you miss something now, silence will follow. That if you fail to respond perfectly, my voice will fade. Let me speak truth to that fear. I will speak again. I am not a passing whisper that disappears if you hesitate. I am not a fleeting signal that requires flawless timing. I am constant. I am patient. I am committed to you far beyond a single moment or decision. My voice does not depend on your perfection. It flows from my faithfulness. You may not always hear me in the same way. Seasons change how awareness unfolds. Sometimes I speak through clarity. Sometimes through restlessness. Sometimes through peace. Sometimes through a gentle interruption. But I do not stop speaking because you stumbled or paused. My beloved child, I know you fear missing direction. You fear misunderstanding. You fear taking the wrong step and losing alignment. That fear has made you cautious. But hear me now. I guide those who are willing, not those who are flawless. When you listen with sincerity, even if you misunderstand, I am able to redirect you. When you step forward imperfectly, I am already there to guide the next step. You are not navigating this alone, and you are not expected to hear everything at once. I will speak again because relationship requires conversation, not a single command. I walk with you. I adjust with you. I teach as you go. There is no test you must pass to keep hearing me. There is only openness you return to again and again. You may notice that sometimes my voice feels quieter. That is not absence. Often, it is invitation to trust what has already been spoken, to apply what you have received, to grow confident in listening. Silence is not abandonment. It is space for integration. My beloved child, when you feel unsure, return to presence. When you feel distracted, return to attention. When you feel overwhelmed, return to stillness. These are places where my voice becomes clear again. Do not panic if clarity does not arrive instantly. Do not rush to fill the space with noise. Trust that I am near and attentive. I know when to speak and when to let quiet do its work. I will speak again because your journey is ongoing. You are not meant to receive everything now. Wisdom unfolds as capacity grows. If I revealed everything at once, It would overwhelm rather than guide. You may worry that you will miss something important, but nothing meant for you will bypass you. I'm capable of reaching you wherever you are. I speak through circumstances, through awareness, through inner peace, through loving correction. You cannot outrun my guidance. My beloved child, hearing me is not a fragile skill that disappears when unused. It is a relationship that deepens with trust. Even if you go through seasons of doubt or distraction, listening can be renewed. I will speak again to reassure you, to correct you gently, to encourage you when you are tired, to guide you when the path bends unexpectedly, to comfort you when you grieve. My voice is not limited to moments of clarity. It meets you in confusion as well. So release the pressure to get everything right now. You do not need to capture every instruction or understand every nuance. What matters is staying willing. Willing hearts remain reachable. My beloved child, rest in this truth. You have not heard the last word. This is not the end of guidance. It is a continuation of relationship. As you walk forward, expect me to speak again. Not always loudly, not always the same way, but faithfully. And when I do, you will recognize me, not because you are perfect, but because you are listening. Stay open. Stay attentive. Stay trusting. I will speak again. My beloved child, now that your heart has been steadied and your awareness has deepened, I want to guide you in how to move forward. Not with urgency, not with pressure, not with the weight of needing to prove anything. I am inviting you to walk forward gently. Gentleness does not mean weakness. It means you are no longer driven by fear. It means you are learning to move in trust rather than tension. You have spent much of your life bracing yourself, preparing for impact, expecting resistance. That posture kept you alert, but it also kept you tight. You do not need to walk that way anymore. Walking forward gently means you honor your pace. You stop comparing your steps to others. You stop measuring progress by speed. You begin to recognize that depth, not haste, is what carries you safely. Gentleness allows you to remain present as you move, instead of rushing ahead mentally while your body follows behind. My beloved child, you have been afraid that if you slow down, you will lose momentum. A frantic movement is non-momentum. Alignment is. When you move gently with me, every step matters, even when it feels small. Especially when it feels small. Gentleness also means allowing yourself to be human. You will have days when listening feels easy and days when it feels distant. Days when peace flows and days when old fears resurface. Do not harshly judge yourself in those moments. It fractures the heart. Gentleness heals it. As you walk forward, let compassion guide how you treat yourself. Speak to yourself the way I speak to you. With patience, with truth, with kindness. You are learning a new way of living, one rooted in awareness rather than reaction. That learning takes time. Walking gently also means staying flexible. You do not need to lock yourself into rigid plans. You do not need to control outcomes. Trust allows room for adjustment. If a step feels heavy, pause. If a direction brings peace, continue. Let peace be a guide, not pressure. My beloved child, walking gently keeps your heart open. When you rush, you close. When you force, you harden. When you demand certainty, you grow anxious. But when you move gently, you remain teachable. And teachable hearts hear clearly. You may feel tempted to prove that this moment changed you by doing something dramatic. But transformation does not need to be loud to be real. Often, it is revealed in how you respond differently to familiar situations. how you pause before reacting, how you choose presence instead of distraction, how you listen instead of assuming. These quiet shifts are signs of true change. They are evidence that alignment is taking root. Do not overlook them because they feel ordinary. Ordinary moments are where faith is lived. My beloved child, gentleness also protects you from burnout. You have given much, carried much, endured much. You are not meant to sprint into the next season. You are meant to walk with me, attentive and steady. There will be moments ahead where decisions feel unclear. Do not rush through them. Stay present. I am not anxious about your future. I am involved in it. When you walk gently, you allow space for guidance to unfold naturally. Remember, you are not alone on this path. I am beside you, not ahead shouting instructions, not behind pushing you forward. I am with you, matching your pace, supporting each step. Walking gently also means trusting that rest is part of movement. Pauses are not failures. They are part of wisdom. When you rest without guilt, you restore clarity. When you slow without fear, you regain strength. My beloved child, let your life begin to reflect this gentleness. Let it shape how you speak, how you decide, and how you wait. You do not need to arrive quickly. You need to arrive whole. Walk forward gently. Carry what you have received with care. Stay attentive, stay open, stay willing. This path is not meant to exhaust you. It is meant to lead you into deeper peace, one faithful step at a time. My beloved child, pause with me for a moment and let this truth settle gently within you. You have heard me. Not perfectly, not with complete understanding, not with every question answered, but truly. Something within you has recognized my voice, and that recognition matters more than flawless comprehension. Hearing me does not always mean receiving clear instructions or detailed plans. Often, it means awareness awakening. It means your heart responding before your mind catches up. It means sensing alignment even while uncertainty remains. You have experienced that here, and that is hearing. You may be tempted to doubt this, to question whether what you felt was real or imagined. Doubt often follows moments of clarity because the mind wants certainty before trust. But trust grows through experience, not proof. And your experience right now is real. My beloved child, hearing me does not require constant confirmation. It requires attentiveness. You were attentive. You stayed. You listened beyond the surface. That is how hearing begins. Over time, it will deepen, become more familiar, more natural. But today, acknowledge that you have already begun. You have heard me in the way your restlessness softened. You have heard me in the way fear loosened its grip. You have heard me in the peace that settled without explanation. These are not coincidences. They are responses. Hearing me also means recognizing what no longer fits. You may notice a growing discomfort with old patterns, old distractions, old ways of avoiding stillness. That discomfort is not condemnation. It is alignment asserting itself. It is your spirit saying, I know a better way now. My beloved child, do not rush to translate what you have heard into immediate action. Let it integrate. Let it shape how you move quietly, naturally. Hearing me is not a moment to rush past. It is a truth to carry forward. You may still have questions. You may still feel unsure about next steps. That does not negate what you have heard. Hearing does not eliminate uncertainty. It provides companionship within it. You are no longer navigating alone. I want you to resist the urge to minimize this moment. Do not tell yourself it was just emotional or temporary. Emotional responses fade, but awareness remains. Something within you has shifted. Under that, my beloved child, hearing me also means responsibility, not heavy responsibility, but gentle stewardship. Steward what you have heard by staying attentive, by returning to stillness when noise grows loud, by choosing presence when distraction calls, by remembering peace when fear surfaces. You have heard me enough to move forward differently, not dramatically but intentionally. You may notice yourself pausing more often, listening before reacting, choosing rest without guilt. These are signs of hearing becoming lived experience. Do not fear forgetting everything you have heard. What matters most will stay with you. Truth has a way of resurfacing when needed, and I will remind you. I always do. My beloved child, you have heard me not because you earned it, but because you were willing. Willingness keeps the heart open. Open hearts hear clearly. As you continue your journey, there will be days when my voice feels close and days when it feels quiet. Do not panic in quiet seasons. Remember this moment. Remember that you can hear, that you have heard, that awareness can be renewed. Hearing me is not an achievement. It is a relationship. Relationships deepen over time through shared attention and trust. This is only the beginning. So rest in this truth without pressure or pride. You have heard me. Let that awareness ground you. Let it steady you. Let it remind you that guidance is not distant and you are not lost. Stay attentive. Stay open. Stay willing. And when you doubt, return to this moment and remember, you have heard me. My beloved child, we have come to the closing of this moment, but not to the end of our walk. What has unfolded here was not meant to overwhelm you, rush you, or leave you burdened with expectation. It was meant to steady you, to awaken you, to remind you of who you are when you are attentive, present, and loved. You came carrying restlessness, questions, and quiet weight. You listened even when it would have been easier not to. You stayed when distraction called. That matters more than you know. This moment was not about information. It was about alignment. And alignment has begun. As you rise from this space, you do not rise alone. You rise accompanied. You rise guided. You rise with awareness that you are seen, known, and held. Whatever awaits you beyond this moment, you do not face it by yourself. I go with you. You may not remember every word spoken. You do not need to. What was meant to remain will remain. What was meant to settle deeply already has. Trust that. Let peace be your confirmation. My beloved child, walk forward without fear of delay returning. When it does, you know how to respond now. Walk forward without shame for the past. It no longer defines you. Walk forward gently, attentively, and honestly. That is enough. I bless your mind with clarity. I bless your heart with peace. I bless your steps with guidance. I bless your listening with trust. May fear lose its voice. May distraction lose its hold. May peace grow familiar within you. When you feel uncertain, remember nearness. When you feel tired, remember rest. When you feel pulled in many directions, remember attention. These will bring you back. You are not forgotten. You are not late. You are not alone. You are loved deeply and unwaveringly. And as you continue, I will continue with you, speaking, guiding, restoring. Carry this blessing with you. Let it shape how you move, how you wait, how you listen. And know that this was not the end of something holy. It was the beginning of something true. My beloved child, as this moment settles, I speak to you as one entrusted with light. What you give now does not simply sustain a message, it releases it into lives that are still searching for peace. I declare to you that seed placed in obedience becomes a harvest of awakening for many souls. This work is a river, and your generosity keeps it flowing without limit. I am calling you now. Respond with me. Give through Super Thanks membership, where the PayPal link placed in the description and shown in the QR code, and watch how I multiply its reach beyond what you can see. I bless your giving as a prophetic act, and I command peace, provision, and favor to rise over you. Obey now, and let your seed speak long after this moment. Amen.